humans, this is Katy Mendoza, expanding consciousness in a fun and adventurous way. And this time, I'm not alone. I'm here with my beautiful boyfriend, Keane. Mwah. And we are here to talk about music therapy and how music therapy is connected to life in general. Hi, baby.
Hi.
So I'm going to be asking him some questions and he's going to go into detail about what music is really for him. He's a musician and he is currently a music therapy student and he's about to go take his internship and it's really exciting. So now I'm going to ask you a few questions and you just kind of go into detail with that. The first question is, what is music therapy?
Music therapy is the use of music in a therapeutic context to achieve non-musical goals.
To achieve non-musical goals. Awesome. So like using the music has a therapy, but without people that want to get into music. Like you don't have to be into playing anything, you just have to be just a normal person.
Yeah, you can be either a musician or a non-musician. You can be interested in learning instruments, or you can not be interested in learning instruments. It's just the goal, for instance, in like music education would be to actually get good at the instrument, where in music therapy the goal is to affect some other aspect of life, whether it's physical, emotional, cognitive, or social. So it could be things like bringing your heart rate down if you're having anxiety, or maybe steadying the pace of your gait if you have issues walking fluidly. It can be addressing emotional goals, kind of like traditional psychotherapy. Mm-hmm. It can be social goals, like working with others or learning how to take turns for maybe like small children. And music therapists work with a lot of different other types of therapists. They work with psychotherapists, physical therapists, occupational therapists, and this sort of will work as part of a team in helping those different therapists address the goals of the client using the music, whereas they might not use music. They might sometimes, but we're really the part of the treatment team that is trained in how music affects different physiological, psychological, and other types of things about the client, patient.
Very cool. So music therapy is for the whole world, for everyone. Anyone can benefit from it. And now, how do you integrate like music just in your daily life, your daily routine? Like what is music to you?
Well, like pretty much I think everybody else, I use music for lots of things. I use it to relax. I use it, to get pumped up for a workout. I use it to make a long drive not be so boring. And because I play and write, I use it as, an emotional and expressive outlet. I also use it sometimes professionally because I have taught music before. I'm not currently teaching, but in the past I've been a teacher. And in the future I'm planning to use it as my profession as a music therapist when I get done with my internship and pass my board certification exam.
And now, how does like a music therapy session usually goes? Like if you are with a client, a patient, how does that go?
It typically goes, it depends. If it's the first time, they usually go through, there's a referral from either a therapist or a family member, or somebody heard about it and they think that music therapy would be good for their child, father, husband, whatever relationship they are to the person. So there's a referral, they get referred to us, and then there's an assessment where we take some sort of different information about maybe what they're trying to improve, what they've been working on in other therapies or in their own life, depending, the cognitive level of the client or the desired goals of the client. And so there's a referral, there's an assessment, and then there's typically a treatment plan written up by the therapist, which kind of outlines a session and what goals we're going to try to do and what our objectives are. So that might look like something like with somebody with a social deficit, we might say we want the client to say hello to other group members 3 out of 5 times in a session, and that will be like our goal, or that'll be our objective, and our goal will be to increase social interactions. So a typical session, most of the ones I've done and seen done, they usually start out with music. So we'll either do a hello song, or we'll do maybe some talking in the beginning. If I'm working with higher level cognitive clients, I like to start off with just a question, which might pertain to the session or the theme of the session. So the sessions usually have a theme, like if it's Halloween time, we might be talking about things related to Halloween. So yeah, typically in the beginning, you'll of course meet the client. If it's some of them are one-on-one, some of them are groups. So you want to introduce yourself, and then you'll either start with a question or a song. If it's lower functioning people, I almost always start with a hello song, just kind of a simple song that they either like or that's kind of catchy and easy for them to get on, easy for them to learn and sing along to. And then you'll kind of get into the meat of the session, which will be, it can be anything from like writing songs, singing along to songs, music for relaxation, like taking people on guided imagery through the music. It can be musical games. It can be maybe walking to a beat. It can be tapping on drums to help the rhythm of your speech. And you'll go through how many ever activities you feel like you need, or the client needs actually. You feel that the client needs. And then you usually end with a goodbye song. So it's kind of a sandwich. From what I've been taught and seen, it's usually good to have music be the very first thing and then the very last thing, because you get something to welcome them into the session. The music's sort of like a bridge that kind of like bridges your connection on a social or on an emotional level with the client, and then you give them a song at the end, to kind of take away from the session.
And at that point, is the patient like with the eyes closed, or like just with the eyes open, or how is that?
Which
or
part?
It changes, like when you are playing the music, right? Or when when you're playing the music, like the beginning music, like, or the end music, do you lay them down? Are they like standing? Are they closing their eyes, like in a meditation state, or you kind of just goes however it feels like? Everybody's different.
I wouldn't say they usually have their eyes closed. Usually you're sitting either across from them, like face to face, or you're sitting side by side at the piano sometimes. Or if it's a group, you'll be in a triangle or a circle, or they'll be in a semicircle around you, but kind of try to have everybody facing each other. In some portions, they can close their eyes. We usually don't ask them to close their eyes. We let them close their eyes if they feel comfortable, and that might be in like a guided imagery or maybe a music listening experience. But I would say 90 to 95% of the time they'll have their eyes open.
Very cool. And what do you prefer the best, like one-on-one, or do you prefer like you like groups, like for you, in your opinion, or they're both even?
For me, I like groups because I feel like peers. It really depends. I focus mainly on mental health, so like I want to work with at-risk youth. So I feel like with that age group, they get the most from their peers and sort of talking over things with people their same age, and maybe who have gone through similar experiences. I prefer that out of all the different populations and types of sessions I've done, and even with people with intellectual disabilities. I think they get a lot from being around other people their same own age and in a similar sort of level in terms of cognition.
Very cool. It's all very interesting stuff. Thank you for sharing, baby. Thank you for being you.
You're welcome.
So now, can you share a little bit about what does like music in general does to our brain or our bodies, our emotions? Like how is that, because it's a healing, right? It's a healing therapy. So what's going on in your brain? What's going on in your body? How is that connected to your soul and, all that stuff?
Well, we don't really have any scientific evidence that we have souls. So, in a traditional medical practice, we don't really address the soul too much. Mm-hmm. That's more of a spiritual type of thing that, like I said, we don't have scientific evidence on it, so we don't really talk about that too much. But as for the brain, I mean, I would have to really brush up on some literature, but it can do all kinds of things like cause different areas of your brain to start firing up, areas associated with emotions or associated with language, and it really, especially playing musical instruments, have been shown to light up all different kinds of areas in the brain. And for instance, with people that have brain damage from a stroke or something like that, we can actually bypass the damaged part of the brain and access, for instance, the right hemisphere is associated with arts and creativity, and the left hemisphere is kind of associated with like mathematics and kind of academic things. So a lot of times when people have like aphasia or issues speaking, they'll have damage to the left side of their brain, and through singing we can actually access the right side of the brain and allow them to be able to speak using a different part of their brain. Physiologically, it's been shown to be able to slow your heart rate, be able to change your pace of breathing. It's been able to give people goosebumps. So all different types of things can happen to your body when you're listening to music and your mind.
Very cool. So a person that it's in using that music therapy, like in let's say more often, that you can see the like changes in what they're in their goal that they're working on. It really like affects who they are, and it really like can transform someone.
Yeah, and
physiological and mental state.
Yeah. I mean, people have been shown to be able to regain their ability to speak, or at least improve it, and basically, it improves their quality of life, because almost everybody who's in music therapy, I mean, it seems, maybe that's just because I'm a music therapy student, that, it's a lot of people's favorite, part of the day or their favorite session, especially people that are going from therapy to therapy to therapy to therapy. They just always love music. I mean, most people do like music, I believe, and they wouldn't be in music therapy if they didn't have a desire to actually be there. So it's definitely that's one of the most important things, I think, is it improves their quality of life, and it's fun for them. But we're not there to just have fun. We're there to try to improve their whatever goals they're working on that are being addressed.
And I can imagine that, like, for you, being a student and everything, like when you are working with people, it's also like a heal. Like you're also, as you're healing other people, I'm sure it's like constantly like affecting you in a way as well, like healing you.
I try not to think about that too much. I try to make sure that everything is sort of focused on the client, and I'm there just to do the work. The music a lot of times is doing the work, and I'm just sort of facilitating whatever the client, the client a lot of times they work on themselves, through the music and their relationship with the therapist. So I can't really speak too much about myself. I try not to think about worrying about what I need in the session. It's usually
you step away. You just
focus on the client. So
very
that's
cool.
what we're trained to do. So definitely don't want to make it about me. It's more about them. So
beautiful. Right, thank you. Is there anything else you want to just throw there that I haven't, like, that is very important, when it comes to music therapy? Or you think we kind of with those questions and your responses, we really touch base on what music therapy is?
I mean, it's it's just a good thing if you got anybody who's got any type of challenges. It's really successful with people that are post-stroke, with people who have autism, with people with intellectual disabilities, people with mental health issues. So it can do a lot of things for a lot of different types of people. So if anybody's interested, talk to somebody about it. They can email me if you want to tag my email, and we can get them connected with someone in their area. So yeah, and it can be for anybody. It can be for typically functioning people or very low functioning people, and everywhere in between. So
beautiful, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And that's what it is. That's what I have for this video. Music therapy. A lot of people, when I mentioned it, a lot of people, me before even meeting you, like I didn't really knew that was like a thing. Like it's not. I don't feel like it's too known. So I feel like I wanted to share that with you guys, for you guys to have an idea, and it's just because it's really awesome. It's a very awesome thing, and yeah. Thank you so much, baby, for sharing.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching, guys. Ciao.